All right, welcome, surf fans, to the Corona Cero Push Show. Brought to you, of course, by Corona Cero. All natural ingredients, 0 ABV, add a lime, have a good time. It's all good. Corona Cero. And guess what? It's pitch black behind me. That means we had a long yet awesome day of surfing. Day 2 of competition. It felt like 4 days in one. Had a little break right in the middle. But guess what? The performances kept us all entertained, engaged all day long from dawn to dusk. I'm Chris Cote, Felicity Palmatier, Mitchell Salazar. Flick, you've been in and out of the booth. You've been on the beach. You've been all over the place. Today was a great day to be a surf fan.
Oh, it was. You know what? There was a lot of drama that occurred throughout today. There was a lot of excitement. There were big heats. There were big upsets. It was a long day. Waves provided as well. We did go on hold for that, hour or two. I think it was a good call, and we got through 16 heats. So
I like that. And I know you love reality shows, so today was like Housewives level drama in some heats.
It
was.
It was chef's kiss.
Love to hear it. Mitchell, same boat. You and I were here all day long.
Yeah.
I almost lost my voice. We were screaming in some of these heats.
It was awesome to see Bryan Perez compete that way against Italo first thing in the morning, dropping his first and only excellent score out of the entire 3 events he surfed here. Was great. First Salvadorian ever to, not only win a CT heat, win it against a top 5 surfer too, and then going up against John John, bowing out in terms of the competition, but pushing John, who's the rankings leader. I thought that was a pivotal moment right now. And, of course, the creativity of Yago Dora to me also stood out quite a bit, Chris.
Well, that's the wrap-up for you right there. Thank you, Mitch.
Okay, guys.
Well, let's get to some of the shining moments of the day. And one of the best heats we saw, not only of the day, but of the entire event, was right here. Joao Chianca going up against Crosby Colapinto. This was basically the return of Joao Chianca. It started off in a weird way, a paddling interference. That was pretty much just pure tactics at play. But you know what? At this level, you got to win by any means necessary. But that fired Griff up, made it a heat. By the numbers, the heat of the day.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? If that moment hadn't happened, I don't know if we would have got those performances out of these two. I feel like obviously they're great surfers. Griff with so much, winning percentage out here. The stats don't lie. But I really forced, people's hands. It forced Griff to surf incredible. We got this moment out of him. Would we have got that moment if we didn't have that crazy, situation at the start? Possibly, maybe not. But, yeah, it was just not short of any drama, that's for sure. I mean, that thing was absolutely incredible.
It was so crazy to watch it live, too, and see the amount of spring that he got coming out of the lip right there. And props to Joao. He went out and surfed this heat, Chris, but in all honesty, if Griffin doesn't have that interference at the beginning of the heat, there's no way that he's losing this heat right here. 9.43, 405 with, the cut in half right there due to the interference. Great heat out of these two.
Yeah, I mean, they both showed a lot of heart, and full credit to Griff. He didn't make it easy for Joao at all. Joao had to lean into all of his skill set to get through that one. He said it was hot. He said that heat felt like a battle from beginning to end. And he did give us a very classy post-heat interview saying, you know what, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's all part of professional surfing. So round of 16, heat number 1, that'll go down as definitely a heat to remember. And it could be a little foreshadowing as to what's about to happen in that final 5 picture. So from this heat, let's go to another one that was spectacular from beginning to end. And anytime you get John John Florence out in the lineup, you're going to see something cool. But it was up to Bryan Perez to really push John back into a corner and force him to surf up to his highest powers. This is how it started. And then Bryan Perez, he just applied the pressure. Got a pair of 6s.
It's like Bryan went out and the biggest wave of the day came through. It was like he summoned it. It was crazy. It had that local energy. I mean, this is like the double, almost triple overhead. Are you kidding me? And, I mean, he surfed it beautifully. And just shades of this morning we saw, and he really did put it all on the line again. I loved his approach, out there. I mean, he did drop a 6.83 and a 6.17, but you're coming up against number 1 in the world, John.
And that's the thing. We saw him, have that opening ride, the 4.33 for the 1 air reverse, and then this came in as one of the highest of the event, Chris, an 8.93 combination of major maneuvers, technique on point, but also the diversity of maneuvers in a really short space by John, using speed to his advantage. Great performance by world number 1.
That little 10-second clip right there, I feel like was the best surfing we saw all day. In terms of what the judges are looking for, speed, power, flow, he did it all right there. Lightning fast, laser sharp, pure power. and a show of good sportsmanship right there. I mean, full props to both of these surfers. Bryan Perez, he did El Salvador proud for sure. That will be another heat that we're going to remember for a long time coming. John John Florence, he kicked it up into a different zone. The John John zone, I guess we could call it. 8.93, one of the highest scores of the day. Definitely one of the best waves of the day, if not the entire event. Our quarterfinal bracket is set. Joao Chianca going up against Gabriel Medina. Some friendly Brazilian fire there. That's going to be a classic. Jack Robinson, Yago Dora, they're friends. They travel together. Another air show in the makings. John John versus Crosby Colapinto. Matthew McGillvray versus Jordy Smith. A lot of friendly fire in the quarterfinals, and we love to see it. Well, Jordy Smith was putting in the work, surfing till dark like a grommet. We love to see it. He's not even on the glass anymore. He's on the wood with AJ.
We've moved inside, Chris, because we had an El Salvadorian storm that came through in your heat. Jordy, you dealt with a lot, but the conditions, certainly as it's getting dark, as the rain is coming down, your heat is winding down. Just talk me through what was going through your head in the water.
A few different things, actually. But I don't know, I think just from watching the waves all day, I think in my mind was like, hey, you really got to go for it. I think Leo kind of thought the same thing. It seemed like it was consistent enough that you could do that. And then, I don't know, I started out kind of with a smaller insider. I got my score, didn't finish it. That was kind of what the heat had planned for us. And then that squall came through. That made it really difficult. I fell on like, I think 3 or 4 waves. I felt like every time I was going a little faster, I would get more rain into the eyeball. So just one of those grindy heats, I guess. But yeah, just so stoked to make it through. My caddy Duma ended up getting the better wave in the end. I think he comboed us all, but that's pretty standard for him. He gets the sets in the bathtub.
Well, you got a 6 skirting around on the inside trying to find one. How critical was that decision?
Yeah, I fell on my last set wave again, and then I kind of went for it. I did an air, and then my only wave I finished was my last one, and I think I got like a 6-1. And that was really the difference. I kind of put Leo needing something a little more substantial than just kind of an inside wave.
So you move on to the quarterfinals. You are currently ranked 5th in the world, and here you are coming into finals day. How does that just encapsulate what you have wanted to accomplish so far to this point in the season?
Yeah, 5th's good, but I mean, tomorrow's another day. Hopefully I can climb 4th, 3rd, 2nd, you know. Just keep going, win heats, and go for it.
Another one tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thanks, AJ. Loved his quote from yesterday. Let the big dog eat.
Yeah.
And he had to work for it right there. Again, surfing till dark, going up against Leonardo Fioravanti, who's been really informed throughout this entire contest. But how cool is it to see Jordy Smith, I would say, kind of quietly sharking through this event, currently at world number 5. So he's in that final 5 picture, and that's just awesome because Jordy Smith's been doing it for a long time at a very high level, and it's really hard not to be a fan of that South African surfer. Well, let's look at the Surfline Surf City El Salvador Pro forecast. So Surfline has been spot on throughout the entire waiting period so far. It's only been 2 days of the waiting period, so we just chomped right into it. Felicity, the winds are okay first thing Friday, so maybe we can get some things rolling in the AM, and then Mitch, midday, that's where we're going to really kind of focus on the wind conditions.
Well, look, the next 4 days look great, especially tomorrow on Sunday. I feel like the opportunity to go this weekend is opportune given the conditions that we had on the first 2 days. But looking at Sunday right now, looking pretty good in the morning. We do have 14 heats if we're looking to finish within the same day. I do feel, though, Saturday or Sunday, especially with the packed house like we saw on Friday today, Chris, it's going to be a day to remember.
Well, that's fine. We already did 128 heats today, so 14 is a total cakewalk. Well, you know, when the WSL comes to town, we like to try to leave it better than we found it. And since Saturday is One World Ocean Day, it's going to be a big thing down here and, of course, around the world. Let's take a look at what WSL has been doing to make the world a better place.
Now you can go to the beach, Punta Roca, you don't see that many trash because they save it. It can change so many lives. And see that, for me, is so beautiful to see.
WSL One Ocean is a global initiative to inspire the surf community to protect and conserve our One Ocean to preserve the future of our sport. Today, we are partnering with WSL Pure grantees Oriente Salvaje and Paso Pacifico on a plastic upcycling project that empowers local artisans.
Today at WSL One Ocean, we have really learn how people take simple beach cleanup and make it into so much more.
Obviously, plastics pollution in the world's oceans is something that we've been grappling with for a lot of years. So what we've been doing is collecting plastics as it flows out of local rivers before it gets to the ocean and recycle it into usable products like this bracelet.
What I do is I work with communities of women who live in at-risk areas, and I design and develop product with what they have around, the natural resources or recycled products. What's really special for me is to see how these women believe in themselves. I do it through economical empowerment, but what's really important is that they believe in themselves. Because once you achieve that they believe in themselves, they are unstoppable.
As surfers, the ocean is our stadium and our playground. Show us what you're doing by posting on social media with the hashtag #WeAreOneOcean and tagging WSL and WSL One Ocean in your posts.
Big changes are made of small individual actions with great conscience.
WSL1Ocean.com. Check it out. Well, guess what? We had a million options with this one, but we had to narrow it down to our top 5 moments of the day. I have them right here on paper, and you're about to see them at home. Your top 5 moments from day 2 of competition here, and we were caught up in the rapture of Gabriel Medina. After a slow start, the Monstro came out to play. Gabriel Medina went off. Made this heat one of the heats of the day. 2 huge scores, big surfing Mitch, pure power from Gabriel Medina.
Yeah, and he got pushed by Ryan Callanan, too. He had 15 points in this one, Chris, and we saw the 8.5 right here. Gabe was not only on fire, he had to fight back after open up with a couple of small scores at the beginning of this heat, but look at the quality of the waves, look at the pace that he was able to hold on both of his scoring waves, too. Love this claim right here, too. I'm calling it the manicure right here for Gabe Medina.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was, but I'm here for it. And then we went to the air. We saw some massive punts. Griffin Colapinto, you know, he didn't finish quite as he wanted to, but he definitely put on a great show for us.
You know what? Unfortunately, obviously got the non-priority interference, which means that second wave was halved. But you know what? I feel like it just unlocked this new level. I know he's amazing out here. I know the stats don't lie, but it was just incredible, right? He just clicked into a different gear, and if it wasn't for that non-priority interference, I mean, he would have got the win.
And then we saw the return of the Jedi. Joao Chianca is back in a big way, coming through after an injury, and doesn't look like he lost a step. In fact, it almost looks like he got better on his break.
Yeah, he dropped an 8.5 in the elimination round, too, and had to surf 2 heats today, which is not easy, especially when you consider how much conditions really changed from the morning into the afternoon. So knocks out big surfer in the elimination round, but then knocked out number 2 in the world, Griffin Colapinto, in the round of 16. And as Flick was saying, given the results that Colapinto had in the previous 2 years, he had been the most consistent surfer. So to have this return at this venue, Chris, big statement made by the surfer from Saquarema.
Yeah, it's great to have him back unless you're on the championship tour. You don't want Joao back on tour if you're the rest of the field. And don't touch that dial. Ladies and gentlemen, the Yago Dora show is about to begin. Throwing perfect Indy threes all day long, big airs. I mean, he's got to be considered the most entertaining surfer in this entire event.
Yeah, I'd say that for sure. Yago definitely blew our minds when we were, sitting in here calling this. I mean, big full rotors, indies, it was just insane, right? And I feel like he's probably the most creative surfer on tour, I feel. I mean, I haven't seen that from anyone else.
I thought the booth was on fire. I thought there was something wrong. There was screaming coming out of here. Well, let's go to our number 1 moment, the Pink Panther, Bryan Perez, providing the fireworks. And really, Mitchell, I mean, this was a huge statement by this, I'm going to say, global wild card, because he is an absolute threat.
Yeah, and look at the punt right here, Chris. The hang time on that thing, the section that he had to navigate, especially with the landing. This kid is tall, but guess what? He can also throw airs with the best of them out there. Global wild card, he's also going to be an Olympian later this year, Chris.
Well, and if there's ever any question, can he do it against the world's best? Well, he took out Italo Ferreira in that heat right there. So that tells you the story. And that just made him even more of a national hero down here in El Salvador. So props to Bryan Perez putting on an incredible show for us. And what a great host. You know he's going to be back down here bright and early tomorrow morning to check out all the action. And we hope you are too. You might want to set your alarm a little bit earlier because the call is going to be made at 6 a.m. tomorrow for a possible 6:15 start. So let's get some beauty rest. Let's get fired up. Tomorrow could potentially be finals day. All I'm saying is set your alarm wherever you are in the world. It's going to be an awesome day of surfing. We'll be back tomorrow morning right here at Punta Roca. On behalf of all of us here, see you tomorrow morning.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.